So the Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 234 spoilers are here, and Gojo fans, you're in for one hell of a ride unfortunately. Obviously thanks to my mirror for the chapter leaks as per usual. So the chapter kicks off with Yuta saying that he now wants to join the battle to fight alongside Gojo. This just shows that all the memes which are saying Yuta is quaking about fighting Sukuna is just pure waffle. The Jujutsu Kaisen community at the moment seems to want to meme everyone who isn't Gojo, which I think is a bit stupid. And I think it's some sort of herd mentality where everyone's just jumping on the bandwagon of like insulting these characters for no real justified reason. But that's just my opinion, and this is getting way too political for the TF Anime channel. So let's tone it down a little bit. But as Yuta goes to leave to go and help Gojo, Kashimo tells him that he's not to interfere with this battle. And Kashimo is the one who is going to need to fight if Gojo loses this battle. It just seems extremely tense in the Jujutsu High students' hideout. And obviously this makes sense as Gojo really isn't in the greatest condition to win this fight. So in between Yuta and Kashimo's sort of argument that they're having, Maki says to Kashimo to not forget his role in this fight. She goes on further to say that he's just insurance for if Gojo loses, but at the same time, if they were to lose this insurance, then they're basically screwed from the sounds of it. It seems as though Kashimo with his secret curse technique is stronger than any other of the Jujutsu High students, because he's the first person they're sending out in their plan. So therefore they feel like he has the best odds of beating Sukuna. Hikari tells Yuta to calm down and says to them that Gojo told them beforehand that they are only to get involved when Gojo himself is weaker than they are. Which I think is just absolutely crazy from Gojo, as in this form, he is still much stronger than all of the Jujutsu High heavy hitters. And it really has to be a notable gap in strength, as if it was close then I'm sure they wouldn't hesitate to jump in to help Gojo. Hikari goes on further to say that he suspects that Sukuna has some sort of trump card up his sleeve, which obviously we all suspected, and is clear foreshadowing for that hidden curse technique that's been hinted at for years now. We then jump right back into the action, where Gojo is still being barraged with attacks, in which he is successfully evading all of them, and then actually hits Agito with a black flash once again. But I guess it was Sukuna in the first place, but the fact that he's using this repeatedly is just crazy, especially as some people, including myself, thought he wouldn't even be able to use a black flash in the first place. But once again, these attacks on these shikigami seem to not really be doing anything, and Agito just heals up all the damage basically instantly, which remains a big problem for Gojo as he realistically needs to one-shot these shikigami. I mean, obviously all of these attacks are dealing some damage, but it's nowhere near enough, and we find out that the Agito hybrid is made up of more than just Nue, as even Nue is a hybrid of Morn Tiger, Round Deer, and Great Serpent. Gojo then devises a plan to hit Agito with a purple due to it not being able to adapt to infinity like Mahoraga can. But let's just talk about Morn Tiger. This is one of the fusions of Agito, and I'm a little bit confused by this as I don't really remember seeing Morn Tiger in any of Megami summonings. So this is likely the 10th Shikigami of the 10 Shadows technique, and maybe that's the reason that Agito has been so strong. Mahoraga then tries to attack Gojo, but Gojo still seems to be effortlessly dodging these attacks and countering, which seems suspicious to me, as in a weakened state you shouldn't be able to do this with such ease, but all will be revealed by the end of this chapter. But before I discuss that, make sure to like and subscribe, as I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the week, and all of your guys' support is muchly appreciated. If all of you guys subscribe, then it's definitely going to be possible for me to reach that mark by the end of the week. Anyways, let's get back into this chapter. So it seems as though Agito has been healing Sukuna using one of the Shikigami techniques, and Gojo states that he needs to be able to one-shot this in order to hinder Sukuna, and make it so he has to use reverse curse technique, instead of just Gojo being the one on the battlefield using it. So Gojo wants to land a purple on the Shikigami, and after releasing a 120% amped purple, it really didn't deal the damage Gojo wanted, and it only managed to blow off the Shikigami's arms. Still something which Agito could heal up. And the reason it didn't deal enough damage is because Gojo had to go far away enough that Mahoraga wouldn't interfere, being so it had adapted to infinity. Sukuna, who I believe is hiding in the shadows, stated that if he was to be hit by even 100% holo purple, that due to his conditions from all the prior damage in this battle, it would likely kill him. Hence why he's likely hiding in the shadows and letting the Shikigami do the dirty work for him. It seems as though Mahoraga even has his own ace up his sleeve, as Sukuna is asking him how long he needs to wait for Mahoraga to do his thing. He even goes as far to say that Mahoraga is not Megami's Shikigami, and now Mahoraga is actually Sukuna's. I don't know whether this is set up for a conflict with the Shikigami and Sukuna, but it is definitely something to keep in mind for the future chapters. But Mahoraga's wheel spins again, and then he slices off Gojo's right arm. This is absolutely nuts, and it looks like Mahoraga was using cleave and dismantle. Perhaps Mahoraga was adapting to cleave and dismantle, and this is why his wheel above his head needed to click, and then after he adapted, then he could kind of use this attack. Unless this is another hidden technique of Mahoraga that we just haven't seen yet. But honestly, I have no idea what happened here. Just that Gojo's arm has been chopped off. But I'll go more in depth in the actual chapter review as to what this could have been. But all the sorcerers look confused and also extremely worried due to Gojo's healing being much weaker. Something which was hinted at by Shoko last chapter, so that was definitely a bit of foreshadowing which we slightly missed. So yes, SUKUNA was hiding in the shadows and he reappears in front of Gojo and then kicks him towards Agito, who then tries to pummel Gojo in the head. However, Gojo was prepared for this attack and with a demonic smile then pulls out a blue and starts barraging Agito with attacks. This just seems to be a fight where both of the opponents want to insult each other as much as possible. And it seems as though they're insulting each other more than they're actually fighting at this point. Because Gojo says to Agito that he was a failure and wasn't even supposed to be on the battlefield. And he says he isn't even worthy of fighting him. Gojo then punches Agito with his left hand and then uses blue maximum output to throw Agito around the debris. So then in the next couple panels, we see that Agito has been wrapped around this blue and it seems as though he has finally been destroyed. Gojo's done this by wrapping him around that like blue sphere and then slowly but surely squeezing Agito until it is crushed. And this is due to the nature of blue being a gravity attack where it's going to suck everything up. But if it's just one object, then it seems Gojo can force it to squeeze that one object to try and get into the center of the blue, which will inevitably crush that shikigami. And this is just further proof that Gojo has control over the blue, red and purple attacks, which I think a lot of people just assume that Gojo could only shoot it in one direction and then it kind of does its own thing. But on the end panel, it's clear that Gojo's arm is hidden, so we are unsure whether he has healed it up or not at this point. There is also a narrator note that after 41 seconds, off screen the hollow purple that Gojo had left off had ripped through the battlefield in Shinjuku. So there is no break next week, and JJK states that this is now the climax of this fight. So I definitely have some high expectations for the next chapter. But that is all for this video. If you did enjoy, then make sure to like the video so it gets pushed out to more people, and also, like I said earlier, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as we're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the week. I did leave a couple things out of this chapter, so if you do want to go look at the full chapter leaks, then make sure to go to Mayamura's page, or just wait until the full chapter releases and then read it then. But with that all said, I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.